Hi, everybody. I'm DJ. David Johnson's my real name, but everyone calls me DJ. All my friends. So yeah, I'm the CEO and creative director for Undertone Effects. We are a visual effects company that just specializes in video games. So other studios hire us to either do all of their effects or just on their end push to help them close a game out. So yeah, we're in Unreal, Unity, all the effects systems, Niagara, Shuriken, VFX Graph, Cascade. We do custom game engines from time to time. But yeah, so we're a crew of about 16 people at this point. Yeah, there's some of the games I worked on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shadowrun is a favorite of mine. I mean, some of the other names are bigger, but yeah, Shadowrun was a really fun production. I really loved that game. We were all super surprised when it tanked.
Yeah.
Basically, we all really loved playing it, but
I'm pretty sure that my buddy David Abzug worked on that. He was a designer on it, I believe.
Yeah, I remember David.
Yeah.
He
and I worked at Volition for a long time together. So
that's right. Did he go to Volition after FASA?
Yep, I believe he went there right from there. Yeah, he was there when I got there, and then I got there in 2008. Then he was still there when I left in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So
okay, nice.
Yeah, and actually, I think he's teaching now, which is super cool. That dude is a perfect, like, of course he should be teaching the game design. Like, he's such a big personality.
Totally.
Let's first get started with you as you were growing up. Where did you grow up, and what did you think you were going to do when you got older?
Yeah, so I grew up in LA. My wife and I are both born and raised in and around LA.
What part of LA?
So I was born in Long Beach.
Okay.
My wife was born, I think in the valley just north of LA.
Okay.
And she grew up kind of between the valley, like she's literally a valley girl, but between the valley and downtown. I grew up kind of all around just south of LA. So I went to Huntington High School. I went to Long Beach High School. I lived in Lakewood and Downey and Santa Monica and Culver City. Just sort of, bounced around a lot down there. Gotcha.
And what what kind of things, like, what did you think you were going to do? Was there something as you were growing up that, like, I want to be a, whatever when I grow up?
I don't remember if I had aspirations to be a fireman or astronaut or anything, but I do remember I always drew as a kid. I was always an artist. And, from like second grade, or first grade, I was winning like art contests for drawings.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember our teacher taking us to the park, and we had to like draw the like landscape of the lake and the trees, and then you can go play after that. And everyone else like did their circle for a lake, draw some fishies in there, a couple of trees, and boom, they're over to the playground. And I remember just sitting there for the whole hour and like doing like like rendering style, like shading and everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was just into it. I'd always drew from when I was just a kid. So that kind of naturally leads to an art job eventually, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So as you were in high school, were you thinking about art schools, or like was it starting to click at that point, or what were you thinking about college?
So my drawing fell off a little bit. I think I got kind of I don't know, cold feet, I guess. Like, my drawing in high school was like, D&D stuff and demons and like, weird stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'd have friends that were like better at drawing than me. And I'm like, oh man, like, what am I doing? I had a couple pieces that I was like really proud of, but I still would take art classes. And it eventually kind of led to, I think the first like nudge in this direction of game dev was, so I didn't even graduate high school or college, but I eventually got my GED. But I was trying to like get the credit. My freshman year I just fucked off, real bad. I think I got 5 Fs and a D, so I had a lot of credits to make up. So later in my high school career, I was going to like adult school, like night school, to try to like get the credits to graduate, which I never ended up doing. But and there was one class, it was like a like desktop publishing or something, and that was my first time like doing art on a computer, and we learned like all this freehand or Illustrator, something. I'm like, oh wow, this is super cool. I'm like plotting point, and I remember like, as a younger man, my mom, we never had consoles growing up. I didn't have a Nintendo or a Sega, none of it. The first one I ever owned, I bought for myself when I was in college. But we always had computers. My dad had an Apple II from when I was like, I don't know, 5th grade, and my mom had a Mac, 128K, so the first one that came out. And I remember like my little Oriental Adventures, D&D book, and I was in like Mac Paint, like making all the little like sword.
Yeah.
So I guess that was my first like computer art. But yeah, this like I think it was Adobe Illustrator, and I was probably like 17 or something. And yeah, I was just doing these little like robot shapes and little abstract things, and yeah, super into it. And that's kind of what took me down my training path after high school. I ended up just going my entire schooling. It was really just city colleges. I just so I think I failed out of Long Beach City after like trying to you're like getting your AA credits and like philosophy and debate and algebra and a physical edit. I'm like, oh god, I hate that. So
I hear that.
I didn't do it. And then so I took a couple of year hiatus, and I worked in my first like computer graphics job as a colorist. But that's a bit of a tangent. But I ended up coming back I went to Cerritos City, and I remembered that Illustrator class, and they had. And this time I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take classes that I like. So it was, I started with just a drawing class, a photography class. They taught Photoshop, like I don't know what version it was, pretty early on.
Right.
So this is like 90, I don't know, 4 or something, 95 maybe. And yeah, I just took all like creative classes and art-based stuff, and I just like loved all of it and I basically got nearly straight A's for the rest of my school career because I just took classes I liked. But I took all the art classes they had, and then I'm like, then somebody was like, oh, so in the computer lab, they're like, oh, Fullerton just has a big new computer lab. You should go there. So I transferred to Fullerton City, took every one of their computer classes, and that's when I got my first 3D stuff. We did like Strata Studio Pro on the Mac, and like they had like I learned Flash. They had like Shockwave and Macromedia Director, like sort of the precursor to Flash.
Yep.
So was learning about like multimedia stuff, and that was super fun. That led to a web design job that I did for a while, and then finished every class they had. And then someone told me, hey, Santa Monica City's got a new program. It was called the Academy of Entertainment Technology, and it is still running today. And I was in the first year. It was weird because you had to submit a portfolio. So I submitted some of my art that I had done in my previous college classes and photography, and got in. And it's like, that's kind of bizarre. Like normally you'd send a portfolio to an art school, not a city college, but
right.
All right, that's what it is. I think there was like 200 people accepted or something, and north of 1,000 people submitted. But and that's where I started to learn like Maya and 3D Studio Max. And one thing I appreciate about that experience was they had us not touch a computer for the first semester or year. I can't remember, one of the two, but it was all just like core art fundamentals, right? Like life drawing and color and
nice.
And literally like 2D, flip, paper, pencil, like cell animation. And like that is the best. I like, one thing that bums me out about some schooling these days when you're learning computer graphics, it's like, okay, you're going to learn, the software. I'm like,
yeah.
Like we really don't care about the software that much. It's like it is those art fundamentals that are important to making good stuff. So
software is going to change, right? Like you need
yeah, totally. Yeah, now Blender is the thing. All the young bucks coming out of college are all Blender. I'm still stuck in my old 3D Studio Max ways.
Do they still do Studio Max? I thought it was all Maya now, or is it the other way? I don't even know.
You can get licenses for both. They still do update 3D Studio Max, yeah. Okay. But it's you know, who knows when they're gonna phase it out. I assume they would have years ago at this point, but it's still kicking, and I still have all my hotkeys in there. So. All right. Oh, there's Brandon. He's one of our guys too. Yeah, he's trying to get me to switch to Blender. He's teaching everyone at the studio that doesn't know it, like, okay, here's how you do that in Blender.
Nice. I mean, that's the way to do it, man. Like I said, new tools are always coming out. We got to try and stay on top of it as much as we can.
Yep, for sure. And Houdini now too is, you know, it was just kind of, you know, film guys used in commercials and TV using Houdini, and that's making a lot of inroads in games now.
Yeah, definitely. So you're finishing up now your third art related program.
Yeah. And then I didn't finish that one. I got a job before. I think I had one semester left, but yeah, I had done, I think, 3 semesters of that, and you know, learned some Maya and rigging and animation, modeling, all that. And my first job, yeah, I basically quit because, well, they're going to pay me money and I'm going to learn here. So yeah, I'm just going to go do that now. Right. So I never even graduated. But I
mean, the point of a degree is to get a job, and if you're gonna get the job, that's cool. Go for it.
Yeah. And I had a debate. I had applied for an internship between semesters or over the summer. I can't remember, but at a company called Novacom in I think they were in Santa Monica at the time, but they did motion graphics. And I remember I had started, when you're in school, you start networking with people and industry people, and broadcast graphics are kind of a big deal in LA. And MGLA, Motion Graphics LA, I don't even know if it exists anymore, but that was the user group meetup thing for motion graphics people. And I had started going to those, and I was like, oh man, this is I was doing really stupid, horrible animations of spinning logos for my girlfriend's uncle who was doing public access ads for the, whatever.
Right.
Really crappy, cable commercials. And I was going to warehouse parties, so whatever the DJ was, I'd spin his logo in Infinity, just doing garbage. Wow. Motion graphics. And I go to these things, and they're doing these guys did the Super Bowl blue bumper. I'm like, oh my god, this is really cool, stuff. And I got accepted for an internship there, but it was for no pay. And then another company, this company called Viewpoint Digital, who does just 3D modeling, they wanted to give me an offer to just work for them, and it did have pay. And I was a little torn. I really liked the work that Novacom did. I mean, they're one of the, probably at that moment in time, they were probably one of the biggest motion graphics firms in the world. And I was, I'm like, what do I do? But I was broke, so I needed money.
Yeah.
So I took the modeling gig. And it ended up being a lot of fun. It was called 3Name3D when I started, and they eventually merged into Viewpoint Digital. But we started. They were doing. They were scanning cars. I don't know if scanning is the correct word, but we had a so the car commercials that you see, the year before the car is revealed at the auto shows or whatever, they have to start prepping the commercial. So we would get in covered vans so that they could be photographed, and the vans would back up. We had a garage, so we'd the car would get unloaded into our garage, and we would take engineering tape, which is little tiny maybe a quarter of a centimeter thick tape, and we would literally one down the center of the car, one down you basically hit all the edges and curves, and then we literally laid out a physical wireframe on the car, and then we had a ferro arm, which is a big robotic arm, and it takes 2 people to operate. So somebody has to go with the little pen tip that knows where it is in 3D space, and basically, go to an intersection and hold it and then say, go. And then someone else sitting over there on a laptop has to, hit button on computer.
Wow.
So I was hit button on computer guy. And then he'd move it, go.
Sounds like an entry level job. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But it was pretty cool. Yeah, and so you build up the whole wireframe model of the car by like sampling every intersection that way. And it was pretty cool, and then that led to me like learning how to model. Like I became a pretty decent modeler from that. The interiors were those were rough to do. You'd be cramped in this, in the car, like around the steering wheel, and then like little rings around the steering wheel. Like you literally would lay out a whole wireframe in the interior of a car. But I learned a ton from there. They had some cool tech that it's probably not worth going into too much of a tangent on, but. Yeah, I learned a lot. So that was my first, job out of school.
Nice.
Although the little intermission one, sort of somewhere in the middle of college, I think during that, I quit Long Beach City and then started again. I think between there, I was a colorist and did. So we colorized black and white, like TV shows, commercials, movies, and cartoons. There was some phase where like. There's a ton of old black and white stuff that was good to show on black and white TVs, but you can't do that anymore because we're in the color era now. So the big studios would hire us to like do it, and it was a pretty garbage job. It's like graveyard shift. It was pretty horrible.
Wow. I mean, but it sounds like it was a good experience though, or at least an introduction to the kind of things you might be doing later.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, I liked it. Like, me and sleep. I need sleep.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, third shift job sounds awful to me. I'm in bed by 10, so
yeah. I remember like I was good at it. Like we had quotas. I'm like, really? I need to do 2 seconds a night in an 8-hour shift. I would literally bang out my quota in like 45 minutes or an hour. They're like, oh, you're fast. Because I was like learning computer graphic stuff. And most of the other people that worked there, like, it was kind of an entry level job. You're just kind of like someone did the color palette. Someone like laid out the masks for each, character and block of area. So all you had to do is like move the points around, like, go to another frame and like move all the points, like, one frame at a time. And like I was fast at it, so I'd bang it out quick. And I literally got into I got into a habit of finishing my work so quickly that like I just could not. Like I would literally like put sunglasses on, and this was at night in a dark room. I'd put sunglasses on, and I kind of trained myself to like look like I'm working while I'm sleeping. So I'd like kind of just like move my finger every once in a while. I wasn't doing shit. And after like, man, like I was sort of up to that for a week or two. I'm like, I can't, like, this is horrible. I just walked up to the front and I'm like, I'm quitting.
That's enough of that.
Hey, there's a Metal Multi-Ball. That's my man Heinen. We worked on Shadowrun together.
Nice.
He's doing he just released Metal Multi-Ball. It's like a VR pinball game that's like heavy metal music theme.
Oh,
it's pretty
sweet.
awesome.
That's nice. That sounds cool. Very cool. Man, I have not done anything in VR in like 3 years. I have a Vive, and the whole room setup thing is just such a chore, and like finding the space to do it. I need to get something that's like more, free form, something I don't have to have so much setup for. So I'll start doing it again.
Yeah. I mean, I've got it, the whole setup down, and I still don't. So yeah. I've got the wireless adapter for the Vive. Mm-hmm. Which is this thing. So I'm not even tethered anymore. You just plug it into like a little battery tank.
Nice.
And this area right behind me, I just push my seat aside, and this is a big enough spot.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good floor space there for sure.
Yeah, I could be vibing, but
I could in here too if I kick the dog out. I have like just enough space, but then I have to hook it up, and I haven't done that yet. So.
The cable's a bummer too. Like, yeah, putting the wireless thing on was pretty handy.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, I like that. I'm kind of at this point waiting for, I'm assuming there's going to be a PS5 VR soon, and I'm kind of thinking I might go down that route when that launches, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But it also limits, right, like what's available, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can only do it for so long anyway.
Have they announced anything, like if there will be one yet? Or?
No, I haven't seen any announcements. I just assume that's coming at some point. I mean, they did it once, and it was received fairly well. So.
You know, I in my head, I was thinking that the PSVR would be like, and I actually don't know how the numbers pan out, but I kind of assume the PSVR would end up being the most successful one, just in that, like, you know, how many people are gonna, you know, buy a whole beefy computer and the headset and the space and everything. It's like just I mean, it's a big cost, right, to entry. And, you know, anyone who is going to be into VR probably has a PlayStation already. So, you know, you don't need any hardware.
Right.
So I don't know. I just figured from just a cost and install base standpoint that PSVR would be the one. But and I think it did end up selling more than the Vive or the Oculus. Is that right or no?
Yeah, last I saw, at least I'm pretty sure it did well. I think having to get the you know, the controllers and stuff separately and the camera, I think there was a bit of setup with it that made it a little complicated for people, and it made it a little more expensive when you got all that stuff too, right? So
yeah, you had the PlayStation Eye thing if you didn't have that already,
right? So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, it's the thing we've been waiting for is for it to get cheaper anyway, and the technology is getting cheaper. You know, the Quest 2, my son has that now, and he loves it. And that's probably the right kind of thing to do, because you can play it separate, but then you can also hook it up to the computer and get all this stuff off of Steam. That's probably what I should do, but I don't know. We'll see.
Quest 2 is great. I mean, it's so nice to not be tethered, and it's just such a compact. Also, my wife plays more VR than I do. She was doing Supernatural quite a bit, which I got buddies over there that are working on all that stuff. And yeah, they're doing really well with it. I think they just got bought out, actually, the company that makes that one.
I'm not familiar with that one. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, Supernatural. It's a really cool, like, sort of exercise game. Yeah, we've been trying to work on our fitness a little bit.
Yeah, I hear you.
We got to take that COVID weight back off.
Dude, I am with you. We started running again to try and do that. So yeah, no, I'm with you there. I got that COVID. I'm gonna say COVID 50. That's what I'm gonna say. You know, like, I'll lump it all in together. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. My buddy, like, 4 months ago, my buddy Peter, he's like, "Hey, I'm starting a personal training thing. You want to work out?" I'm like, sure. And he was a friend. He was talking about moving out of town. I'm like, oh, this is one of our favorite couples. So, like, yeah, if it's going to keep you here and and you don't move away and incentivizes that, yeah, sure, I'll work out. You know, so he's been doing, like, weight training with me.
That's cool.
And then their house just sold, like, last week. So.
Oh man, that's rough.
We just had our last session, like, Monday. It was supposed to be this morning, but my back was a little tweaked, so I didn't go.
Oh. Wah. Yeah, you tried, right? Like,
well,
hey, maybe you develop some habits that'll help you to, you know, kind of continue that going forward. So.
Yeah, hopefully I won't give up on it. I'll keep going. 'Cause, you know, it feels good. It feels good to do that.
Definitely. Especially after you get past that initial few weeks of awful. You know, it starts to get a little easier. You know, that's better. I got to get back to that place.
Yeah,
I hear you. Oh man, we went on quite the tangent.
Yeah, we did.
All right, so you were at your first job. How long were you at that first place?
Let's see, Viewpoint, probably 3 years, something like that.
Okay.
I started in, like, 97. I think I was there till 99 or like 99, 2000. Yeah, something like that. Nice. So 3 years.
Were you doing the same kind of stuff throughout that time?
It morphed a little bit over time. So you know, cars for car commercials was sort of the first thing, and then there were a couple of buyouts with Lucky Cloud's asking if we ever modded games. I don't think I really did. I was always, you know, so my games around that era were, you know, I sort of grew up on the Ultima games. Mm-hmm. Like that, I could probably blame them for my like eventual career in caves. I'm actually playing them again right now. I'm playing through a Calabath. I just did Ultima 1, 2, and 3, and I've just begun Ultima 4. But then around this time, I was Warcraft 2 and 3. I just played the bejesus out of it. I think I probably made a couple of my own maps. But yeah, I didn't really mod much.
I wasn't much of a modder either, but I highly recommend it, especially to anyone that's interested in getting into games these days. The tools we have to do it are ridiculous.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. With Unreal Engine now. And, so yeah, it started with cars for car commercials. And then there were a couple of corporate buyouts. We got, bought and merged and sold off. And one of the other like main, like, clientele of this company that I work for, which is 3D in the beginning, was Vermal VRML. So we were doing 3D work for websites. So Ticketmaster had a thing briefly that we did where we got blueprints for all the like football stadiums. So I modeled a bunch of baseball and football stadiums so that when you could go to the Ticketmaster website to buy your tickets, you could see what the point of view was from the actual seat that you bought, which is pretty cool. We did it in Vermal. This is late 90s. 3D real-time rendering was pretty garbage back then, but I don't know, it was a pretty cool application. And then one of the companies that we got bought and sold off was they're called MetaStream. Which they had a lot of really cool tech. I think they were like tied. I may be getting this a little bit wrong, but for any like, I'm 48, so any old timers like me, like MetaStream, they did. I think they did Infinity, which was one of the first 3D softwares that I used. I think they did Kai's Power Tools and a bunch of other like cool little plugins. That's a throwback, but. Anyway, so when we engaged with them and eventually merged with them, they had their tech was 3D web streaming tech that was like beautifully rendered. They had a thing where it was doing like image-based lighting, like before any game had it, and it was like really beautiful, like like reflections of area lights and everything. In the late 90s on a website, and it was like so ahead of its time. So we modeled like a good chunk of the Sharper Image catalog, all those cool little objects, whatever. The fucking air filter thing. like I can see these things in my head, but
you have nightmares about it still.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one that I started to get nightmares about though, like. When we were doing those cars and laying out the wireframe, like I started to dream in wireframe after like you sit in a car in this confined space and for hours and hours your vision is just like, lines, like you're seeing lines everywhere.
Yeah.
Like when you drive home from that, you're seeing like wireframe the road, like literally your brain is like filling in lines everywhere. I started dreaming in wireframe, like that was a trip.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah, just to do it, like to see wireframes physically, like, yeah, it messes with your head a little bit.
I have not experienced that one that I'm aware of. So.
And then we did sort of my first games I ever worked on were there too. We some of our clients were video game companies, so I did some character modeling. I modeled the main villain for Tomb Raider Revelation, which is I think the 4th one. Mm-hmm. And we did Microsoft Baseball.
Microsoft Baseball? I don't even remember this. What?
That is a game.
that is a game
from the late 90s. I don't know how good it was.
Man, I don't remember that at all. That's wild. What made you move on? Was there a change at the company? Did you just decide you want to do something different?
Hey Robert, that's Adam Mayhem 22 works with us too.
Oh, nice. You got the whole crew in.
Here's what happened. This is I'm trying to think is this the first time I was fired? There might have been firing. I think it was the first time I was fired. Yeah, so I got myself fired. It's the long. I'll tell you. I'll tell you kind of what happened. So, when I started at this company, they were a pretty small operation run by 3 guys, and my buddy Kevin, who had learned some he'd gone to SG Silicon Graphics, which is not a thing anymore, but SGI back in the day, he'd gone to their SGI training and had learned Power Animator and was trying to get a job doing animation or effects or something, and was having a real hard time landing anywhere. So, and I had gone to a job fair at one point, and I go to the different booths, and some of them were animation effects related, and some of them just had nothing, medical stuff or whatever. But I went to this one booth, 3Name 3D, and I looked at their catalog, and it had all these 3D models. I'm like, and I had just started. I don't think I had even taken a 3D program yet, but I'm like, oh man, this is so cool. There's a wireframe of a dynamite and a baseball, and I'm like, I have no idea how anyone does that, but that is so cool. I want if I want to work for you guys one day, what do I need to do to get enough whatever to what do I need to do? What do I need to train on to work for you guys? And he's like, okay, well, just learn a 3D program and make a wireframe and make it efficient, and here's a card. Oh, cool. So anyway, fast forward, I was working at a web design company, and Kevin, who lived upstairs from it, I don't know how he would come into the office once in a while, and he was just friends with the owner or something. And he told me a story, and I was learning some other, it was Form Z was a really cool 3D modeling program for Mac back in the day. And I'm like, hey, give these guys a call. And he started harassing them. He'd call them every 3 months or so. Hey, you need any work? No. You need any work? No. And maybe 9 months later, he comes down. He's like, DJ. All right. No one called me DJ yet. Dave. That's going by that. I'll tell you how I came to DJ is another story. But he's like, they hired me. They needed someone to push the button. And I'm like, oh, cool, great, good for you. So then 6 months later, I was after he called me up. He's like, DJ, we need somebody to push the button. Come in. I'm like, yeah, all right.
I can press the button.
I did a great job of pushing the button.
Nice.
So they're like, okay, can you model a windshield wiper for this car? I'm like, I think so. I've spent a couple of hours in 3D Studio Max. Let's see if I can do this. Barely knowing what I was doing. And I think I made a 60,000 polygon windshield wiper. They oh, that's great. That's actually really good. But can you do it in maybe 500? Okay, I'll figure it out. Yeah. So yeah, they ended up hiring me.
500.
So Kevin and I and most of the staff was not from this country.
Okay.
And I think my salary there was, I think they offered me $19K a year.
Oh. Wait, what year is this? 2000?
This is 94. Oh, okay. No, wait, 97.
Okay.
And I told them no, and I think I talked him up to 26 or something. Okay, good. And I'm like, do people at McDonald's make more money than me? It was 19K is a pretty, low salary for a pretty highly technical thing. So
right, yeah.
Wow. And I think, not to go too far into the weeds, but I think a lot of the people there were paid, very low. And we had the company was bought out by a mega corporation. We were merged with Viewpoint, and we kind of got wind of okay, we're all making mid-20s. The guys in our other branch are making 50, 60, 80, 90.
Ooh, yeah.
Or something. I'm like,
there's a
can
problem.
We do something about this? And they're like, yes. When the buyout happens, we're going to give you, salary corrections and everything's going to be great. I'm like, okay, that sounds fine. I will hold tight. And then like, you know, and the buyout is gonna happen in, you know, 2 months or whatever. 6 months go by, 9 months go by.
Yep.
We didn't get any raise at all that year. I'm like, come on, like what the fuck?
It's that promise that, you know.
Yeah. So and you know, like, look, this is how, you know, is this the reality? I don't know. This is how in my head how I justified it, like post, you know, traumatic fire. But like, a lot of these people weren't from the States, and I think had, you know, negative leverage, right? And so I was the squeaky wheel. I bitched about it, and then finally, like, the buyout happened, and they had a meeting, and the guys came, and they're like, yeah, this is gonna be great, everyone's gonna be fine, and they're like, if anyone wants to talk to us about anything or any concerns you have, you know, just pull me aside after the meeting. And I'm like, yeah, I have this thing.
I have concerns. It's been
pissing off the entire staff for a while. And so, and he's like, yeah, give me 3 months. And when the merger finally goes through, like, yeah, salary corrections. So, you know, 3 months, 6 months, another 9 months. So like, I'm like a long time went by, and the buyout happened, and they're like, yay, it's final. DJ, can we see you? Dave at the time. Can we see you in our office? You're fired.
What?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Why? Like what? How does that happen?
I don't know. I you know, well, from their perspective, which I can now kind of look at it on, you know, buyouts and mergers are delicate things, and there's big contracts and money and questions and due diligence and all this. And, you know, from their perspective, for one of their employees to go to the people that's buying them out and to tell them that, like, oh, this is all fucked and we all need big raises, probably didn't help their negotiating.
All right,
I weren't too happy with me about that. Okay, fair enough.
Oh,
I get it.
man.
I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the right move, but yeah, I've tried to take principled stances. It's bitten me in the ass a few times.
Oh man.
And you know, I don't know. Maybe was I being greedy? Maybe they're, you know, who knows what their position of me was, but you know, I don't know.
You know that. Oh man, there is a lot. There's a lot to consider there, right? But man, to like you at this point, it sounds like you went almost a year of them being like, yep, it's coming. And then the thing that ended up coming was, actually, we're going to move on without you.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing I realized in a little, the friends that I left behind that were still there all did get pretty big salary bumps after that.
Well, yay for them. I mean, yeah. That is good for them.
So maybe my pressure helps that along. I don't know. So whatever.
Oh man. You helped someone, right? Like,
yeah. No idea.
Andrew
maybe.
says you're too handsome to work here. The new company couldn't handle how handsome you are. That's it.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Oh man. So then, what did you do?
I think,
like, you're now suddenly out of a job. Like you thought you were moving into, like, I'm going to make more money. Things are going to be great.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
now?
That was my first, like, you know, big, like, oh, Jesus Christ, what did I do? What do I do now?
Right.
You know, that was a point in my life where, you know, I won't go into too many details, but like, I kind of hit rock bottom at that. I had a relationship that fell apart. I was engaged to a girl, and that, like, you know, imploded.
Sure.
I had, I'll give a little dirty dirt. They had, I had gone to jail.
Oh.
For a car. I was, you know, they didn't pay me shit, so I was broke. I didn't pay a traffic ticket for a year or two, which turns into a warrant.
It does eventually, yes. That's what that is what I'm told.
Yeah. So I had parked. I was dropping my about to be ex-fiance off at her job or school or something in a red zone, and a cop like whoop, whoop, blew me up, and yeah, my car got towed. Yeah. So
that's not fun.
And then
that's like
that relationship
insult to
ended
injury too, right? Like that's when you're down,
Yeah.
just keep kicking, you know.
Lost girlfriend, go to jail for 7 days.
7 days?
Fired from my job. Yeah, that was the like.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, for traffic stuff. Yeah, hey LA.
Ooh, man. All
So
right.
I was like, oh man, I need to fix my life up. So I started applying around, and I applied to a bunch of places. I had my demo reel from school, and 2 places that I was interested in. I applied to a bunch and had several interviews, but oh god, Brandon. So one company in San Francisco, what were they called? They were like, there were 2 companies that were there was a few companies that were competing with each other for like web 3D supremacy at that moment, and Viewpoint was one of them. They were doing some of the coolest 3D web engine stuff. Another was a game company in Seattle called WildTangent, which is where I ended up working next, which is a really fun job. I learned a ton there and met, like, to this day, like, super awesome people who are still, like, I love to death. And there was a company in San Francisco that had kind of a competing, like, web 3D tech that looked like they were going to be the top dog. So I kind of took this, like, oh yeah, I've done Vermal and web 3D stuff. And so I wasn't even like properly in games or even properly looking for a game job. I thought I would leverage this like, knowledge of 3D web stuff that would like look like it was gonna like, be the future.
Right.
That didn't happen. Like what's 3D on the web stuff is there today? None. I can't think of a single website that has 3D anything, but so yeah, I interviewed at I ended up in WildTangent, which is kind of properly a games company. They did sort of like there was 2 divisions. They had the AdverGames division, which I was kind of in. That companies Coke and Nike and the Nip Tuck Show and Axe Body Spray. I hired us to do like a cheesy little game for their website.
Like what year are we talking right now?
So this is I think like 99, like 2000. I think October 99. I moved up to Seattle for that. So got away from my crazy fiance, which she just pocket dialed me last week. If you want a horrifying story.
Oh,
like 20 years ago, ex-fiance. We won't go on that little tangent.
Okay.
That was...
do you happen to know if she had a Pixel 6? Because I've heard the new Pixel 6 is randomly calling contacts.
I don't know.
And I have one, so I'm terrified of this. But that's funny. Yeah, that's never good. And especially a pocket dial that goes to someone you clearly do not want to talk to. Right, like
yeah. I mean, I'm on friendly terms with this person to this day, but like, it's been probably 8 years since I'd even spoken.
Oh man,
yeah, that was wild. So WildTangent.
Yeah, that's a wild, and that was a wild tangent. So
yeah.
What kind of stuff did you work on there? Like what? And how long were you there?
So I was at WildTangent, I think for 5 of my 8 years in Seattle. So I was at WildTangent, FASA, and then Bungie briefly. So yeah, 5 years there. It was my first like, oh no, yeah, I make games now. Yay! That's all I do. And it was great. I really loved it there. Although like if you bought a Dell in 2002. Like it came with some WildTangent games, and there were a few little like fun. Yay! That's our hit games. Torchlight, or the precursor to Torchlight, was made there.
Right.
Like Polar Bowling. I don't know some. There were their little like indie darling hit things, but
yeah,
they had a couple fun games. But yeah, it was a great like primer to game dev art for me. I had modeling chops at that point already. But yeah, I got to do everything there, and it gave me a really, it was, leading to effects, which is very technical and job that takes a lot of coordination with other departments. It was helpful to have that where I got to do it, name art job title. I did it there. So I did lighting, environments, art direction, outsource managing, character modeling, R&D and tech stuff, particle systems. I did mocap. I did animation, like everything.
You were all art.
Yeah, all art. Well, we would put out a game every 4 months with maybe 3 people.
Oh man,
which is crazy. It's like it was it was a rush. Like okay. My first one I think was Robot Wars. What is that game? What is that TV show where like the robots? You have your remote control robot and they fucking crush and saw each other to death.
Yeah,
Robot Wars. Yeah,
I think so.
We did like a kind of a rip off of that idea.
Yeah, that's what it was called. Yeah.
Yeah, it had 7 levels and 8 different robots and me and one other artist and one programmer made that in no time in 4 months.
That is
crazy.
Wild. That's like constant game jam. You're just like
yeah, it was like that. Yeah, so there was the upper floor was executive people and test and HR and stuff, and the bottom floor was just these offices and bullpens, and you're in an office with 2 or 3 other people, other good artists, and most of the people there were young, just out of college, right? And didn't know and got imported for this job, right? They had tons of capital. The guy who founded the company, Alex St. John, is one of the creators of DirectX, an old Microsoft guy. So he had some some pull. Yeah, and so we didn't know anybody but each other, so we all became really close friends, really tight, and we'd go out to dinner, we'd play D&D together and Magic the Gathering and barbecue at each other's places.
Nice.
Yeah, I really loved that time of my life and learned just a ton about game art.
I think a buddy of mine, Mark Hernandez, worked at WildTangent around that time. I don't know if you worked with him. It was like early 2000 or something, early 2000, something like that.
There were a couple of people that ended up at Volition too that were from WildTangent. I remember I interviewed at Volition. You were there. I think it was well before your time, but yeah, I remember going there and oh, hey, I remember you from WildTangent. Yeah, Abzug I think was there, and
yeah, man.
Abzug was from Facet.
He was from Facet. Yeah. But it is crazy how small this industry is and how you end up seeing people other places. It's kind of crazy.
I think every time I walk into any studio at this point, I'll be like, oh, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I feel like I know someone everywhere now. You've been in here long enough. You at least know someone who does know someone everywhere, right, at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, before we move on, I've got something I want to do a quick aside here. I've got what I call the dev round, and this is a series of questions I ask everybody. You ready for this?
Shoot, let's do it.
Right. First question: what is your favorite game of all time and why?
Oh goodness, favorite game of all time and why? Well, I mean, how do you even do that? So before I narrow it, let me the most impactful ones on me for sure. I would say Ultima 3, which sparked my imagination for games. World of Warcraft is probably the game I've played the most, and then maybe Warcraft 3 I played a ton of. I don't know. I would probably I'd probably say World of Warcraft. I just I lived there. And it started there at WildTangent, right? It was beta in my last year there, 2005 or so. And one of the other guys was on Lightbringer, one of the beta servers, and to this day I'm still on it. And I've dipped in and out. I'm currently not playing at the moment, but man, like the friends I met through that game, and I ran a guild for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. When did you first feel like you had made it in game development? And this might be a little early to ask this question, but
sure. I mean, probably when I landed at Bungie, like.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good tell.
That's a pretty good one. And I was only there for a brief time, but man, I have such fond memories of that. My buddy Steve, who was my boss at the time, was just so fun. And we'd go like, man, we making the game all day, work late, and then we'd fucking go over to the garage, drink afterwards, and like it was just nonstop. But like that was such a fun one. And like I am such a Halo fanboy too. I love me some Halo. And ironically, Halo 3, the one I worked on, and maybe this is typical, but it's probably the one I've played the least. Just the
that
trauma
happens when you work
making
on a game. Yep.
Sometimes.
I don't play stuff after it launches usually. Like I'm tired of it by now. Everyone else is just getting it, but
yeah.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, shoot.
All right. What advice would you give to someone who's looking for their first job in the industry?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll even narrow it further because our specific discipline, the effects, is where we go. So someone who's looking to do effects in games, my advice to them would be to, the most important thing, and we touched on it a little bit earlier in my mind, is really art fundamentals, right? Timing, weight, color, profile, like just all the basics of art. Like, do not go looking to learn software like that. When you know the buttons and apply it to these fundamentals, greatness comes. But it is a lot harder to take missing fundamentals and button knowledge and get greatness. So focus on like hand animation, man. Like I don't know how many places teach that anymore, but like the sense of timing that you will get from that is and profile, like The Illusion of Life is a book that emphasizes that. Effects, hand-drawn effects animation, like if you can do that, like you're gonna be good. There's a lot of technical stuff to learn, but so yeah, I would say that focus on the fundamentals of art and animation.
All right, last question, and this one's my favorite. If you were born in the year 1870, what kind of job do you think you would have had?
Oh goodness. I have recently come upon a new hobby, and that is woodworking.
Nice. All right.
I just built I had never touched wood before. I didn't take woodworking in high school, nothing. But I started seeing these, like I'm a huge D&D nerd, so I started seeing these like dynamic battle map videos where you can have like, go to YouTube and you type that in, you see these 3D Unreal scenes with the grid, and put your minis on it, and people are building D&D tables with a TV in it, so that their maps can like be animated. I'm like, I need this in my life. So I learned woodworking about 2 months ago, and I don't know if I can put a picture up somehow to show you guys what I made. But yeah,
I'm not sure
I built
if you
a 2-layered hexagonal table with a 60-inch TV embedded in it, and a little cutout for my laptop. And then I built this a bookshelf to just feature all my old. I collect D&D, vintage D&D books now, so just to show off all the cool books. So yeah, woodworker, I guess.
Nice, that's really cool.
I'm having fun with that right now.
All right, I gotta tell you one thing, because I don't know if you know this, but when I attended Full Sail, my first game design class was with Dave Arneson, who's the co-creator of D&D.
Get the fuck out of here!
And I have a bag,
no way.
I have a bag of D&D dice back here. You see that yellow right there? It's a bag of D&D dice that he gave me that I still have and use to this day when I play. Isn't that wild?
Crap. Wait, Dave Arneson was teaching at Full Sail?
Yep, he sure was.
Ah!
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is crazy. Can I can I show you something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna run and get a thing real quick. Okay.
Wow, that is a big map.
Yeah. So for my D&D room, I've been printing out. So I have plans to make a vintage series where I run the earliest D&D games with like the original 1974 rules. And we're actually going to start before that with chainmail. So this is Dave Arneston's. So
awesome.
The two competing worlds in the beginning of D&D were Greyhawk and Blackmoor. So so Gary Gygax did Greyhawk, and Dave Arneston Blackmoor was his world. That was the campaign he ran at home. So so I've been printing out, getting the online the biggest, most high-res maps I can find, and having them printed on cloth. And so they're hanging like tapestry. So whatever
that's great
world or realm we're in, there's a big old map that can be like, oh yeah, no, you guys are doing this adventure. You're right. Here, this is where the Temple of the Frog is. And,
I love it.
Frog Island right there.
I love it. Yeah,
super nerdy.
So Full Sail built a big gaming studio, and they called it Blackmoor Studios. So that's
oh man,
yeah,
man. I've now D&D's resurgence too. Not to go. I mean, we're
hey,
diverting
any
from
topic
is
cool, man. It's all good. Don't worry.
Sure. So D&D's resurgence. The Critical Role guys, and I always mess his last name up. Joe Manganiello.
Right.
So he's got the Gary Gygax Memorial Dungeon. And is there a way I can show a picture of like my new D&D room somehow?
If you have a link, you could put it in the chat. But I don't think we have a way for you to just show it.
Anyway, so I have a super sweet, like right behind there is my new, table shelves. It's really cool D&D room. I just had our first game. Oh, you know what I can do? I can give a link to my Randy Macho Man Savage Strahd run in that old shop. It's pretty garbage quality video, but let me find it. Anyway, I sort of had, dreams or designs or like, well, Joe's got the Gygax Memorial Dungeon. Well, I don't. Does Arneson have a memorial dungeon dedicated to him yet? Maybe
not a dungeon. Not that
I don't know. Maybe I could contact his people, see if they'd be okay with me calling mine that. That'd be sweet. All right, so I'm gonna post a link to this ridiculous game. Here is. I'm going to put it in the chat.
You're such a nerd, man. I love it.
Oh, totally. 100%. I'm about to go on vacation, but I got the D&D adventure that I'm running. I'm going to do some reading on and a Dragonlance book.
Hey, next time you do a one shot, let me know. If you got a spot for somebody, let me know. I'm always down for a one shot.
Yeah. One shots are good. Like it is a lot to coordinate, adult people's lives and schedules over periods of time. So like, I didn't know one shots were a thing until recently, but like, I mean, this game we just did was, and it's a great format. It's just like, no, we don't need to coordinate lives. It's just like, oh, can we hang out once?
Yeah. And it's awesome when it's like you hand someone a character, right? Like, you can obviously let them create their own, but the easiest way is here's you, like, here's the world, let's go. Like you don't have to even think about it leading into it. Just absorb it and go. And that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, just simple, quick objectives. Yeah, that was man. I had so much fun. It was ridiculous as hell.
That's awesome. That's great.
I'll give one more bit of advice for people getting into games that's not effect specific, but art anyway. And that is so for a little context, I'm on at GDC every year the portfolio review panel, which is probably one of the best attended events there. But so one of the common threads at the portfolio review that we do every year. So there's a panel and kind of who's on the panel swaps out every year. I've been off for a few years. Then we do a physical review, like line around half the building to get in, and there's like really like top guys on this thing, but you get your portfolio reviewed. And one of the common threads, like every time with almost everybody, is you have not reduced your portfolio enough. I think one of the mistakes people make is they go to school and they learn some things, and they capture the things that they did, and then they put them in their reel as
I know how to do this.
What I know how to do. That is not the purpose of a portfolio. The purpose of a portfolio is to demonstrate that the art that you can make is better than the art that other people can make. and showing that, like, I know how to model a thing, and I know how to animate a thing, and I know how to rig a thing, is not, don't. So usually we see a portfolio, a reel will have, portfolios often have 20, 25, 30 pieces in it. Six. Like, narrow it to the 6 best things. Like, and think of it this way: when someone's reviewing your reel, what they are looking at is often what they're going to be left with is the worst thing in it. And if you are presenting like, this is the best work that I can do, they're going to kind of assume that, like, the crappiest thing in there is probably about the level that you're going to deliver
your average work
on a work schedule, right? So make sure that the crappiest thing in it is good, right? So don't show 30 things, show 6 good things. Just really, like, curate down massively.
So that actually works really well in line with the advice I always give, which is people are going to give 5 minutes. I've got 5 minutes to look at your portfolio. And if I've got 30 things to look at, the odds that I'm looking at your best stuff is low if you've got 30 things in there, right? So show I like the 6. Where did you come up with that number though? Like, why 6?
Pulled it right out of my butt.
All right,
it doesn't matter the number, but like, literally, I would rather see a single fuck yeah, amazing, holy shit, hell yeah thing, and the only impression I'm left with is like, wow, that's a really cool piece. Maybe they'll say send me more, but like, I would rather see one great piece than a spread of garbage and a great piece. Like, just that is one of the more difficult skills, but it is an important one to have, is to understand when something is not good enough. And that's kind of like, like high-end game development, and in any artistic medium is you have people that are responsible for just that, is setting, like, what is not good enough, and like, get rid of that, and anything that it's not that's going to be delivered needs to get better and get feedback on it. So do yourself that favor and just remove all the things that aren't, like, if it does not hold up to, like, I would hang it on my wall and be proud to have this thing. It is an art piece. You are making art, right? Like, if it does not qualify as a piece of artwork, it doesn't belong in there.
Interesting. Do you feel that way about someone who is fresh out of school too? Like,
yep.
Yeah. So you would rather see one amazing piece of art from a student, like, that has not done anything professionally, over here's the things that I've learned and contributed to.
Totally.
Okay.
100%.
All right. No, that's great. That's good. Really, that's really good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. And that holds to effects too, right? Like usually, like, there is probably a single piece that I will see that like, if you think of it like, okay, so when you watch a movie or play a game, like, they are manipulating your emotions over an arc, right? They will have lulls, and they will introduce color, and they will subtract color, and timing and tension and release, and like all these things that happen in the production of great music and great film and theater, any artistic endeavor, right? They're sort of playing with your emotions, right? And so in a portfolio, you are delivering the like emotional response you want the hiring manager to have is like, yay, this is great, right?
Yeah.
So you can show, like, if you open with your best piece and like, and they open with like, yay, this is fucking awesome, like, great, yeah, we're hiring you, and then you just show them more and more garbage over time, they're gonna be like, ah, fuck. So just stop right there, like, just cut it off right at the, like, yay, that was awesome.
That's really interesting. So, okay, so one of the things that I always talk about from a game designer perspective is making sure that your portfolio and your resume shows what kind of designer you are, right? Because are you a systems guy? Are you a level guy? Like, where is your expertise? Because when we're hiring in the industry, especially in AAA, we narrow into specialty, right? And so I don't want to see a little bit of everything, because then I'm like, I don't know which job you're you're really best for if I'm seeing a little bit of all this other stuff. So I always tell people, focus in on like, where's your passion? Where's your skill? Show us that. So in this case, if their best piece isn't quite their expertise, how does that work for them?
You mean like from looking at this through a game design angle?
No. From your angle, from a VFX angle. So someone's art. Like, or like from art. So if they're like, they've made this badass character, but their passion is in environments, or their passion is in animation, or you know what I mean? Like there's so many disciplines, and usually in education gives you a little bit of each. Maybe they're wrong about what their passion is, right?
Yeah. Well, look, you're applying for a singular job title, right? You're applying to be an animator or an environment artist or an effects artist. So when you present, have only that in it. Like if you aren't sure and you want to hedge your bets and just apply to everything, make an effects reel and an animation reel and an environment art reel. But it could be that like, wow, you did a great job at environment art and lighting, and you have stuff that is like hire worthy, and your passion is in animation, and you're which maybe it sucks or not, but I don't know. You basically the student needs to make a decision, right? Are you going to you got to make a call, like, yeah, okay, your environment art reel can get you hired right now. Submit it and take a job, and like that's going to become your path, right? Like forget about the other things. It does, like there isn't really schooling in game effects, like almost at all. Although
absolutely not. Like Keith and I were talking about this. Like there's nothing that like he didn't learn effects at all at Full Sail.
No,
like he just went on from there, right? So
I was a modeler, yeah. Although Drew, who's I don't know if he's here still, but they have a game effects class that he's teaching next year, and he worked for me, and so it's going to be legit.
Nice.
So yeah, University of Utah is going to have something for that, but. You got to make a call. What are you going to pursue? And so if you have a great environment portfolio, but you want to do animation, your decision tree is very simple here. It is submit and go down the life of environment art, or if animation is what you care about, then but you're not good enough yet, get better, spend time, make more pieces, join the 1 minute club, or there's a lot of animation mentor, improve until you are hireable in that field. But you got to make a call, and you're applying for a singular job, so you got to narrow it.
I guess my question is, what I know is game design, right? And I know there's multiple disciplines as you come out. And I know that's true for, art as well. And even in programming, where the jobs are specialist, right? Like what you learn is a little bit of everything. So you can kind of learn what the thing is you're best at. But how do you decide that? I think some people probably struggle with that a bit. If they're like, I'm pretty good at this, I'm pretty good at that. Do you kind of look at it as what's the best thing I'm able to create, and maybe I go down that road? Or like, is it, I care most about this particular discipline? That seems like it's a tough thing to think about.
Yeah, it is. And you raise a good point too. Like when you start school, like you have no idea. Like, I mean, in the effects subdiscipline, right? There is 0 people that go to Full Sail or DigiPen that are like, yeah, I want to be a games effects artist. Most people don't even know that exists, right, as a specific discipline, right? You're just going to go like, oh, I like games, they'd be fun to make, now it's like an art or design or code or what sub-discipline of art. So I mean, let it boil down to like what you enjoy the most, right? Like I think I would emphasize that over, like, say design is what really excites you, and interaction and systems, but you're a great artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like you choose between the two. You can get hired like right away as a great artist because you've been doing it and you have natural talent at it, but like you care about game design. I would go there. I would recommend that every day. Just what do you enjoy and love and care about and are passionate about, and the interactions you have with your colleagues too. Are you gonna like nerd out about the latest Maya, button or tool or animation technique or new anime that you saw? Well, all right, we'll go that direction. But if like, systems and game design and like layouts and like if just follow your passion. I mean, people don't get into this to be middle managers, right? Like nobody does. So like just whatever you care about, whatever you're happy doing. And one thing that is a little interruptive of that idea too is like challenge. Like one thing that I love about effects specifically is like, oh man, you will never, no one that does game effects knows all the stuff, right? It is changing so fast, and there are so many little subdisciplines between, like offline simulations and materials and real-time simulations and like there's a ton of math stuff to know and physics and like destructibles and weapons and stylized. It's like nobody is a master of all of this. So like that's tricky. It's like it's also fun to be in something where you're like, I mean, I am arguably a fairly accomplished person at this and have a couple of awards sitting on the shelves, but like I am humbled by the work that comes out and the work that other people do, and I'm like, man, I don't know how to do like that. Like I all the time, and there's like real-time VFX Discord and Facebook group all the time. I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, there's some amazing work going on. I don't know how to do that or that or that or that. And like, and it really, you'll learn it when you come to it. But anyway, point being like, follow your passion, like whatever excites you, you're going to be happy. And I love to be challenged, and I love to run into stuff that I don't know how to do. Cause like, I'm going to learn something now. And that's great. Like that really excites me when you're pushing yourself and you're doing stuff that's better than you've ever done before. Like that's my happy place. And it's uncomfortable, right? Because you're like, there's always this, like terror of failure, right? But you gotta like, but also like that's how you push yourself, and that's how you get better, and that's how you do some of your greatest work is going to be under the gun of like, I don't know if I can do this, but then you ask people and you get feedback and you learn and you look shit up and like, and then some of your greatest pieces ever are going to come out of that.
Yeah, man. It's funny because like there's just so many options in this industry and so many specialties. And when you talk about someone that's I'm really good at art, but I also love design, that might be the time to talk about indie development, right? Where you can wear multiple hats and potentially do more because you're actually passionate and skilled in several areas. But man, it can be tough. It can be real tough to find where is that right spot for me,
Yeah, you make a good point too. Like, yeah, indie development is a whole different world than AAA. And AAA, you're going to be very pigeonholed. And like, my first job at WildTangent, doing all of those roles was that era equivalent of indie dev now. And like, we've had guys that are like, oh yeah, effects stuff, really cool, come work for us. One of our team members quit to do that because they were like, yeah, like I just want to make, me and my buddy, we're gonna make our own game, and like, yeah, man, I all for it, yeah, and you're really gonna stretch yourself then because then you got to wear so many more hats, but yeah, that's gratifying, and it's a different world, right? The pressures and stresses are going to be different. When you work at a big company in a pigeonhole job, and that's not what I want to do anymore. I did that for a long time.
I get it.
For big companies, but like, okay, you got a great paycheck and it's stable, and the challenge is there, and you push yourself. But like, yeah, it's a whole different set of problems when you and a couple buddies. But like, you get Cuphead out of that, and you get like, tons of really cool little indie projects.
Absolutely.
Like Minecraft, right? Like, there's different ways to express this amazing art form these days.
Yeah, it continues to evolve, right? Like we, AAA teams get bigger and the specializations seem to narrow more and more. Yeah, and then indie teams are also getting bigger, and then they're, the multiple hats thing is depending on the size of the team. You could have that, or even indie teams kind of specialize as they get a little bit bigger. So there's so many options, so many different ways at this point, and the tools that we have allows even the smallest of team to do the coolest of shit. So there's just so many options out there now to do really cool stuff and kind of, do your passion as your work, which is something that people we don't realize how good we have it in that regard at times, right? Like we literally do stuff we love every day.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
Like most people do not get to do that, right? And so it's such a cool thing when you just step back and look at it and like, oh yeah, like even on my worst day, I was making a video game. Like that's
yeah, it's a luxury.
Right. We were last at WildTangent for you.
Yeah.
And what was the end? You said you were there for 5 years, 3, 5, something 5?
About 5 years. Yeah. It's 2000 to 2005.
And what was the end? Did we talk about the end of that time yet? I'm trying to remember kind of where we were.
Not yet. So that ended. That I didn't get fired from that one. I survived multiple layoff rounds.
Oh man, that's
there's
the worst.
funny stories around that. Putting your key card, no whammies. We kind of know when like layoffs are coming. No whammies, come on.
Yeah.
Beep. Oh yes, I still have a job.
Dude, that right there. People don't understand how often. If you've been in this industry for 20 years, you've had that a few times.
Yeah. So I left there. It was. We only got about 20 minutes too, and more stuff to get through. So
don't worry about time. We're gonna have you back on because we've got a lot of stuff to cover. Right. We'll figure out another time. Cool. We're good.
All right. So I went from WildTangent to FASA. So the way that happened was, and let me go on a little tangent too. One more little bit of advice for new people who are trying to get into this is, and like. I tell this to the guys that work with us too. It is helpful for your long-term personal, like financial outcome to bounce around jobs in your early career.
Yeah.
If the first place you go to, they're going to get you in at sort of a new person salary.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stay there for 10 years, you're typically you're going to get, we try to do better than this at Undertone Effects, but typically you're going to get like, 3-6% raises a year. 6% is like, oh wow, that's
a good
great
raise. Like that's a really good raise.
That's a really good raise. That's you kicked ass, and it's a generous company. 6% raise. 3% is probably the typical. 1% is not uncommon. And if it's not 4%, you're essentially losing. You're essentially going backwards because that's functionally what inflation is about these days.
Yeah.
So every time you jump jobs, you should get 15% more, 20% more, depending on how long you were. There's factors, but like if you start out of school and then like take this gentle curve and stay at a place for 10 or 15 years. If you're lucky, they bend the elbow up a little bit, but if you can get 15-20% raises, I would say early career, work at a place for 2 to 3 years and then bounce and do that at least 3 or 4 times, because every time you're gonna bump yourself up, 15-20%, and that curve, rather than like slow linear growth, is like. That affects where you land in the end of your career quite a bit.
Yeah,
I think that's good advice. So, little tangent, but going from WildTangent to FASA. Here's how that happened. So one of the guys I work with, Tito Pagan, was asked to help write the art chapter in a book called Intro to Game Development, which I have on my shelf right there.
Nice.
He couldn't write all of it. And this is like a college level book on, it is thick as hell. It's got, I think it's the biggest book I own, but
wow.
There's like 20, 25 authors something, but Tito was responsible for the art, and he couldn't write it all, so he tapped me and a couple other guys. So I wrote the chapters on effects and modeling.
Nice.
And so, I'd go to these game dev drink ups in Seattle. They had two. So every 2 weeks, there was East Side and West Side once a month, and they were offset by 2 weeks. So I would go to them, all the time and get drinks with. Seattle is like a very dense game dev hub.
Yeah, it is.
I'm hanging out with the guys at FASA and Bungie, and hey, look, two companies that I ended up working at, and tons of other companies. There's 90 or so game studios in like a 20 square mile like area in Seattle. So yeah, going to game dev drink up and just becoming like friends with people, and then they'll be like, oh hey, yeah, you do effects, right? You wrote the chapter in that book about effects, even though like I'd done some particle stuff at WildTangent and wrote about what I probably completely unqualified to have written. But like, who was it? That's like how many effects artists were in qualified games in 2002, whatever, 3.
Yep.
But yeah, I got published on effects and modeling in games. And then yeah, I'm at Game Dev Drink Up, and Sage, who was like, oh dude, he's so kick-ass. He was like one of the main designers behind Shadowrun, which is such a good game. He's like, oh yeah, we need effects artists, and Steve, the effects lead at Bungie's like, you wrote the thing about game effects, right? Why don't you apply for that? I'm like, okay. So I did, and they made me do a test, and I did a test, and killed it. Good enough job. I don't know. Like, yeah,
you completed the assignment, right? Like...
Yeah. And then I love Shadowrun was such a fun game. I met Steve, who's in the Twitch. Hey, there you go. Sage Rules. Yep. The Metal Multi-Ball is from the FASA days.
Nice.
So yeah, I landed there, and then my transition to Bungie was a weird one. A story I haven't talked about a lot, but. So FASA got shut down at the end of Shadowrun, and like it was heartbreaking because like I met Steve there, like we were in a band together for a while.
Oh, wow.
We never played a show, but like
Shadowrun was one of the first multiplayer only games I remember coming out. Right, like it was. Yeah, like that's all it was, and I think that was tough for some people, right?
Yeah, it got backlash for that, and it got like the stupidest thing. It got backlash because there was no climb animation when you're going up the ladder. You just kind of like, like, all right, whatever. But it got backlash from a lot of like hardcore Shadowrun fans that like it was a take on Shadowrun. It was not the like gritty like dark cyberpunk vision that Shadowrun was. It was kind of a cartoony flavored Shadowrun like expression, and it just took tons of heat for that. So, but it was a super fun game. I still am in Discord channels with people trying to figure out how to hack the damn thing so that the servers work again.
Nice. Was no one can figure it out. Xbox only, or was it on PC as well? I can't remember.
Both, and it is the first, and it was probably 10 or 15 years before the next one did this. It was the first cross-platform game, so you could play Xbox against PC.
That's wild.
And here's a crazy story about that. The expectation of everyone at the studio was that we're gonna have to do some shit so that the Xbox players don't get slaughtered, right?
Yeah. I mean, mouse and keyboard against controller, right? Like at that time, that's a major difference at that time.
Safe assumption that turned out to be wrong. We had to buff up the PC controls.
Really? Was it because
totally like, anti-intuitive
was better on controller, or?
So PC controls for shooters at that moment in time were all direct raw input, right? Quake, Unreal, everything. Like you are 180 snap spin, no scoping, and a console game is unplayable in that context, right?
Yeah.
So there's friction, there's aim assist, there's all these things to make it so that like your bullets go to their face and upper torso, and like we had competitive PC Counter-Strike players on our test team.
Oh wow!
Getting smoked by the console players. Yeah, for real. Totally anti-intuitive. So we had to put aim assist, or not we, Sage was like the real guy that like balanced the two. Put a bunch of aim assist stuff onto the PC controls so that the console players didn't destroy. And like it's a tricky thing. Like there is no right answers in this, right? Like if you do it enough, then like the sniper on PC, blah, 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 blah. You know, the chess match is unalignable, like fundamentally. But you know, we were proud of how it ended up. But so yeah, Shadowrun was awesome game.
Man. I mean, everybody that played it that I knew loved it. And they thought it was just like completely new and different, and like just thought it was great.
Yeah, and I still to this day like I don't know what other people call it. I call it ultra movement game. Like so a couple of the like Overwatch is kind of, you know, you've got classes and all these different crazy things you can do and shields and roles, and that it's kind of common now. I think Shadowrun was probably the first shooter that was like that I know of.
Class based,
yeah, and you had glider. You could like you just like cruise from one part of the map to the next. You had teleport, which was like just mind blowing. So the maps were designed, and Heine, Steve, Metal Multi-Ball guy there, was one of the main environment guys. They had to design the environments to be able to like go up and down and through walls and in from one room to the next. It was like this 3D chess match that you were doing, and it just felt so good to like teleport through a wall behind someone and fuck them up with the katana. Like, it was so great.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So you can play against bots still, but the servers are down.
See, that's the one thing, man. Like, I wish when games shut down like that they would give some option for, you know, like, here, do your own server. You know, like server-based games that aren't supported anymore are just dead, and that sucks.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Chrome Hounds is another game that I loved quite a bit. I think the servers are down for. Hellforge asks if it's the same as the tabletop RGB. Yep, they made it. We made a FPS based on the old, which was Shadowrun was created by FASA, which is they had a video game division for a while. Yeah, that was owned by Microsoft. Anyway, yeah,
and it was all based on that stuff. And like I loved the Shadowrun tabletop, like or whatever we call it, RPG. I played that a lot back in high school, and that was like my first like dystopian experience, right? Like it was super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, check out the FPS. You could still get it.
Can you? You just play with bots now?
You can still play bots, yeah. And
you said it was on PC and Xbox, so I wonder where all.
Yeah, I mean, this was Xbox 360. This was I think an Xbox 360 launch title. So I don't know if you can download it still anywhere at this point. Like, yeah.
We have a mission. We're gonna find out where.
Yes.
Where you can play the Shadowrun FPS. Nice.
Yeah,
dude, we got less than 10 minutes left. So
okay.
so let me ask you this. But what is there, if people would like to reach out to you and have questions, whatever, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
I'll put it in the chat. So my email address, just email me directly, dj@undertonefx.com.
Nice.
But Discord also. So if anyone's interested in effect stuff, there's a real-time VFX Facebook group, Discord, and website. I am a founder of all of those.
That's a thing that Keith did some stuff for early on too, right?
Yeah, Keith developed the website primarily. Yeah, the first incarnation of it was the Facebook group, which that's a whole other story maybe for next time. But the VES Awards, they canceled the games category, and I created this real-time VFX, what became the real-time VFX Facebook group, to organize people submitting to this. And it came back. Hey, there's realtimevfx.com. Brandon just posted.
I'll get these links into the show notes when we do the podcast version as well, so people will be able to find you.
Yeah, perfect. And Yeah, and then I registered the domain realtimevfx.com like a million years ago, and then didn't make it. Didn't do anything with it because yeah. And then Keith was like, "Man, we got to expand this thing." He took me out to dinner one night, and he's like, "Let's turn it into a whole website."
Nice.
And I'm like, "All right, here." I just signed over the domain to him, and then he, had it created. So, and it's turned into a really awesome thing. And now the Discord is probably the most active bit. Just real-time VFX in Discord, which is super cool. Like I love it, and I use it all the time because it's like there's so much shit in Unity and Unreal. I'm like, oh, what's that node called that does the thing, and why is my flipbook GPU counter the thing? The math is wrong. Blah blah blah. You just and like, Andreas Glad and like all like the top effects guys in the world are like in this thing, like, oh, answering your questions.
That's awesome.
Phenomenal.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Hopefully people check that out too. Nice. All right. I appreciate you joining me. We'll find some time to do it again soon, and we'll talk to you later. Appreciate it.
All right. See you, Jameson. Bye, everybody.